Hello, beautiful. It's Joe again, and we are back for Fasting Life Week 30. So, as we talked about last week, I did go ahead and eat for 6 days in a row, and I felt like crap. I ate trash. I ate nothing but carbs and sweets and sugar and things I've been denying myself for 6 months pretty much, and too much of it because I knew that I had a time limit that I gave myself. So, yeah, I felt yucky and bloated and tender and oh, all the inflammatory responses to all the inflammatory foods was right there. Pretty sure I gained at least 5 or 6 pounds back in that 1 week because I also still haven't been working out. I have been dealing with some sore breasts issues. It's not uncommon for me, but it's usually premenstrual or something like that. This time, it definitely was much more sticking around for no good reason, even before the bad eating. Um, what I have decided to do to try to deal with that is cut back on my caffeine. I don't take that much caffeine, especially compared to a lot of people. One 100 milligram caffeine pill in the morning, and then if there's chocolate in my life, that's pretty much the bulk of my caffeine. But my mom had fibrocystic issues where not having caffeine made a big difference in how sore she would get. So I am on day 3 of no caffeine. Day 1, I did have a little bit of chocolate towards the end of the day. It was still one of my food days, and this is just food I was going to finish up so that it wasn't in the house when I'm back to eating. So, day 1 did have a small intake of caffeine because there was some dark chocolate still in the house. Yesterday was back to fasting and no caffeine or anything, and the first half of the day was okay, but I did get very lethargic and sleepy early. I wound up having a nap on the couch in the evening, and then, of course, it took me a minute to get to sleep because I had had a nap. But I was so tired I couldn't not nap. I have not had any caffeine today. I have not had any food today. To pay myself back for the 6 days of trash eating, I am doing an extended fast before I jump back into my alternate day mixed with carnivore. So I intend to do either 5 or 6 days fasted, depending on how it goes. I haven't actually 100% decided whether to go for the 6th day or not. Then I will need 3 food days, generally speaking, to make up, but sensible food days. But basically, when you do an extended fast, you want to carefully refeed, but at least half the number of days you fasted need to be food days before I jump back into my pattern. So when I'm only doing a 2-day fast, then go back into alternate day, it's fine. It's no big deal. 2-day fast is 1-day feed. It's cool. Sometimes I would still even do 2 days feed. But doing a 6th day, I definitely need at least 2 to 3 days fed before I go back into it, depending on if I go to the 5 or the 6 day mark. I am planning to go out for a brunch lunch situation in nearby bigger town with a girlfriend of mine next Saturday. So basically, I am going to start feeding Friday morning probably, and then that will give me that 24 hours to start resetting my system so that by the time I'm in town, I can still find something nice to eat with her and it's not going to freak my system out. And it might be the exception to the carnivore rule. We will just have to see. Although if it's a breakfast, I could always have just breakfast meats or something, a couple of eggs, a couple of sausage, a couple of bacon, bam, you've got carnivore meal. No hash browns, no toast, no nothing. We're going to be heading out about 10, so we might end up doing lunch because it's still like an hour drive. So we'll see how that goes. But this week is, at the end of that, going to start my carnivore month. And then we will see how I feel after that month. I definitely am looking forward to this. I think I'm going to be okay. I follow groups and watch what they're saying. I'm listening. Definitely have to make sure it's high fat. Uh, it's going to be different. It's going to be different, but it is still going to be, I think, a possible fit for me or something that I rotate in. But this is just that first try. I know that when I very first started trying the paleo, it was almost more carnivore than paleo. As I was learning what were the yeses and the nos, I stuck to a lot of meat and eggs. So I kind of sort of did a little bit of carnivore already. Um, but finding options when you feel a little bit snacky. Part of fasting life is learning not to snack so much, though. It is learning to satiate yourself within a meal time frame, but still having a couple of pieces of jerky around to satisfy the urge to chew on something may help. I actually have somebody who came to town who lives not too far away, and we were talking, and he actually makes his own jerky and sells it. So it's homemade without all the processing and stuff. And he gave me a couple of flavors to try, and I'm probably going to get some more off of him soon. I already mentioned I haven't worked out at all. Not yoga, not nothing. I've just been so sore, so tender, so not even lethargic so much as unmotivated. And that's pretty much how I've been putting it. I'm not in a bad mood. I'm not depressed, but I am supremely unmotivated. I am hoping that as the caffeine goes out of my system, this will improve and I can get back to doing what I need to be doing. Because I'm not about gaining weight, and my body needs the fitness, and I need the cardio, and my heart and my system in general need it. So last week I did talk about the hair as well. Now I've got my vitamins have arrived, and I'm just getting ready to start adding in like the zinc, and the iron should be here soon. The zinc arrived. Um, but I have to say it's so hard for me to tell how much is actual hair loss and how much of it is gray hair. Take a look at here. You will see my scalp is pretty dark because it's freshly colored hair, and I've only washed it once since I colored it. So, and I use a cheap dark hair dye. It's been sticking. I've been fighting a hairline staining more than I used to. I don't know what that's about. My hair doesn't hold the dye as well as it used to, but my scalp holds it better than it used to. Even when you do it on dirty hair that's got a little bit of natural oils in there, my scalp is still staining really bad. You can see right here. You can see the staining where it's still fading. But you can see that my scalp line isn't actually that terribly big. And some of the other places I had showed you, like here. Can you see that? But my hair, when it's needing to be colored, at only 3 weeks between colors, thank you. Sheesh. I've got a lot of grays now, like a lot. I've had premature gray since I was like 9, here and there, little ones. So by the time I was in my mid-20s and early 30s, I had a fair amount. So my want of fun color became, I gotta do something about that. Now it's a lot of gray. And I think that it is making the separation of scalp look worse than it is, because they aren't even just gray. They're like kind of white. I'm think I'm gonna have that really pretty old people hair maybe. But when you have fine hair that is going pure white, I think it's making my parts look whiter than they are. I'll show you a couple of pictures here of a couple of different spots where you can see it, especially when my hair is a little bit dirty coloring and sitting flatter and not styled. And I mean, because when it's styled, you don't see any of that. You only see it when it's starting to get flatter and it's just or I've been pulling it back in the ponytails and the buns, and so it's tighter so you can see the parts more. But like the one that's right over here, I could see more, and it just jumped out at me when it was in a tighter ponytail. but it usually would do that more so when it's 3 weeks between colors and I'm about to do it again. And I mean, 4 weeks between color, my hair looks crazy. I used to go a little bit longer than that, but sheesh. I sometimes think, do I need to let my natural color come in and just see? But I just don't feel like a gray haired person yet. I don't know. So I don't really know how bad the hair loss truly is with me and how much of it is other changes in my body. Because I am perimenopausal, I am at the age where things are just changing for me. And that's just nature doing its thing, not always in my most favorite ways. But what can I say? Now, I haven't really taken any full body shots this week for no real reason. Maybe because I was eating crap and felt bloated and trashy. I will take a quick one in this shot so you can at least see how things are looking. The pants I'm wearing today are one of the last pair of jeans I bought before I started the fasting life. And so they are an 18, but they were like a really stretchy 18. So they were like skin tight. So they're a little loose, but still completely wearable, especially if I wear a belt. But the belt is not a deal breaker with these particular ones because they had that much stretch and were that new that the stretch hadn't broken down really. So that's where we're at. Hair might not be as bad as I felt like it was last week. Extended fast, 5 days for sure, maybe 6. Coming out of caffeine. We'll see how that goes. I mean, I don't over caffeinate, but if I can get my boobs to stop being sore so that I can do my workouts, I would appreciate that. Thank you. And then when I do come out of the fast, it is time to start going carnivore, which means hard cheeses if I want them and my body tolerates it, eggs, fats, butter is okay, preferably fatty meats, so pork is good, beef definitely good, organ meats, should I find I can tolerate them, because that gets you a lot of the nutrition when you're on carnivore. Although they do sell vitamins, that is, you know, the organ meats powdered, so that the people like me who are less likely to be okay with organ meats can get that nutrition. So that may be a thing. For 1 month of it, I don't feel like it's necessary to go to the supplements yet. If I really dig it and decide to stick with carnivore for a longer period of time, I might have to do the supplements. But butter within reason, like literally people will take a steak and cook it up in bacon grease and whatever, and then pop a tap of butter on top of it. That we want all the healthy fats we can possibly get. So that's going to be different. They say they get really nice and full on it and they get satisfied off of less. It's one that they don't really hype calorie counting on. You're just supposed to eat until you're satisfied. So I think we all know that I will sort of count calories. I apparently am going to need to get a scale so that I can weigh a steak. Because, you know, when you're at the deli or whatever and you go to the counter and you're at the meat counter, you're just like, I'll take that one. You know, it doesn't necessarily, they just put a price on it. They don't tell me how big it is. I have no idea how big that is. That could be 16 ounces. That could be a 2-pound steak for all I know. I've got some pretty big steaks from them. Then I'm like trying to figure out how many ounces it is when I'm putting it in my app. So, I mean, I'm not trying to eat 4,000 calories of meat in a day, but I don't think it's easily done. They don't do a lot of chicken when it comes to carnivore, although I do have a piece of chicken in the freezer that I'll probably eat soon just because I'm not going to leave food to waste. But, you know, I'll probably grill it up in some lard or something instead of putting it on the George Foreman because I want the fat. I don't want the fat to come out like it does on the George Foreman. But definitely you want to stay away from as much of the processed stuff as you can and eat as clean as you can from the meat. But you also don't want to make yourself go crazy on the flavor satisfaction part of it. So some seasonings are a little okay. A little sausage or something here and there is just going to have to be okay. But none of the veggies, none of the nuts. That's probably going to be the hardest part is, I get way too many of my calories from just munching on the nuts. And it's got me grazing more during the day than I intend to be. But, when you're just sitting there having a day off and watching TV, and, there it is. So that's where we're at this week. Those are my main 4 items to talk about. And then I do believe I probably gained at least 5 or 6 pounds this week back, but a lot of it was probably swelling and bloat. I am about, 40 to 43 hours back into fasted. And I do not intend to eat for, what was it, something like 130 hours? It was something in that neighborhood. Basically, we're looking at least 5 days with a possible 6th day, depending on how I feel. And then hopefully everything can start to get back to normal with my workouts and everything too, as I just make this shift. I still don't know why I'm having such a hard time waking up in the mornings, whether it is the season change or if I just mentally checked out or both or what. But I need to get active again. So there we are, Fasting Life Week 30. And I will catch you on the flip side. Do please remember to subscribe, notification bell, comment if you have anything to tell me or say or ask, because I like that. And we will talk to you later. You have a beautiful day.